Okay, I wanted to give you guys some quick tips on making props for your doll makers. Because if you just use pre-made pieces, everybody's games are going to look the same. So it's a good idea to figure out original ways you can use the pieces. I mean, buying pieces from the market will help because then you'll have more variety of pieces. But if you can't afford them right away, there's actually a lot of pieces that can be used in neat ways if you just spend a little time on it. So one really good example of that is all these animal bodies make excellent carpets. So if you sort of squish them a little bit and stretch them out, color them, turn it into an asset, it'll look great on a floor somewhere. You can have a rug that way. It's good if you get rid of the secondary color here. Another way you could use them is to make like caveman style outfits. So let me just show you an example here. I made these characters a while back. They're just I just made simple holiday dolls, but I built them outfit pieces out of pieces from the Animal Maker. So this was a mask I made, and this is this mask right here in behind is actually the mask from the costume set, but I've put a lion nose and some fur up here and the horns. Those are all from the Animal Maker. So there's only one purchased piece in all that. Um, Sorry, I'm looking for another example here. Maybe I got rid of it. Okay, so that's one way you can use pieces in the Animal Maker. Another way is to use things to make plants. So these or other kinds of props. All three of these bushes and this trunk thing were made using pieces from the Animal Maker. Okay, so the branches are uh, elephant trunks, and the leaves are fish bodies. And I believe that's like an alligator tail or something that I've turned in half. So I'll just go give you a quick example. So for the leaves, I just took these bodies and resized them and moved them around. I think this one I made kind of long and skinny. So that's how I made these things. Okay, I'm gonna quickly switch makers so that I can show you some other examples. Okay, the dragon maker is just good because it has a lot of kind of blobby looking pieces, which can be very useful. So I'm just gonna make, here, let's get some out. They might make good rivers or lakes or something like that for a background. So if I did that, and I've already mentioned before, but one of the important pieces for me anyway, to make sure you purchase is this square from the building pack, because when you expand it, it will be bigger than the screen, so you can use it to make backgrounds quite easily. So let's make one, let's duplicate it. So now we have sort of a sky. And you can obviously spend more time on this and it'll look much better than the one I'm doing here, but this is just an example of the fact that it's really not hard to make your own backgrounds. So I have the basis there for a backdrop for a character. I just need sort of a few decorations, and whatever you've already purchased or what's available in the maker, sort of, it's just up to you. Actually, here, let's do this the other way. Sorry, I'm just switching the way that I did this so that I can use it to cover some pieces. Never be shy to relayer things. Okay, so another example of a way you could use some pieces is these might make really good, I don't know, like background bush things, and I can use that other piece to cut them off so that they'll look like they grew there. Okay, so there you go. There's some nice bush things. I don't know. See, there's lots of things here that could be used in ways like that. You could, there's some good dresses in the fashion doll that can be used as curtains. These here might make really good rocks. It just takes a little bit of imagination. And with assets, it's great. You can move things between makers and use as many makers as you need to come up with your final design. And then once you have whatever it is, maybe I'm happy with this background now, or um, some other good pieces that I got are from this the Halloween 2009 pack. It's actually going to be renamed Gloomy Nights, but anyway, these clouds are great. So they make good fog or mist, and you can make them semi-transparent to get a lot of really good effects. So that was really easy to do, and it's a great backdrop for something to be hanging out on. And if you applied patterns to the ground and sky, it would look even better. So let's save this. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Save it as an asset. Just grow the little asset box bigger than the screen. Hit save, name it, and you're done. Okay, I'm going to show you an example of some assets in one more maker. So here we go, just a sec. Okay, we're going to pretend that you're making a fashion doll with the actual doll. So you would come up with some variations on the basic body, but you would also need to come up with clothes. Now, your doll is going to be way more fun if you make really original clothes instead of just using, a skirt and then that's it. The very least you're going to want to do is, decorate it a bit, make it different. You could, for example, layer it. So now we have sort of an underskirt effect. You could go into the trim and you could add these rose things to it. Just like that. You could apply a pattern to it. You could build shirts out of, entirely different pieces that aren't shirt pieces at all. So if I just took this and twisted it around a little and the advantage of doing this is then your doll is going to be different than the other dolls, so people will want to see if you've made more makers. They'll come back and check if you've done more work, if you do something original that they really like. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an example of how to build something without always resorting to just pre-made stuff. And this goes for everything. You could build her hats or hair or absolutely anything. I really recommend using these pearls down here. They're awesome. I use them for all kinds of things. They can really cover seams nicely too. If you've joined two pieces to get a unique shape but you need a way to cover something, the pearls are great. You can add, if you buy some new pieces from the market, you'll also be able to use that. Okay, so here's the dress I built. Now I move the doll out of there and I would color it whatever color I want it to be. So this will just be a very gray dress. With white roses. There we go. Okay, so there's my final dress. So I go into asset mode, just like before, and turn it into an asset, and now it's ready to be used in the doll maker. whatever it is. So you're going to need to make a lot of assets before you can make a good doll maker. But the more time you spend on it, the better it'll be, and it'll really look great in the end. And don't forget, your time you're spent in playing in the makers, you do get emeralds for it all. So that means that you'll be able to buy bigger and better pieces from the market in the future. All right, that's it for the asset example. I'm going to do one more tutorial around tips for this dress up, which is just going to be showing you how to use a dress up game. All right. Have fun, and I can't wait to see what you make.